Hi there, I'm Katy Rose, and welcome to the Rooted Reinvention, a podcast exploring the real-world journey of reinventing who we are without burning out or burning our whole life down. I teach people how to make lasting change by melding my Masters in Neuroscience and my Cognitive Therapy qualification with common self-help tools, spiritual concepts, and my personal experience. Because being yourself doesn't need to feel so damn hard. To get more information on podcast episodes, please visit rootedreinvention.com/podcast. Hi there, welcome back, and this is episode 3. Today I want to talk a little bit about having a system or an algorithm to help you almost make decisions without having to make a decision. What I mean by this is on those days when you're feeling low in energy or motivation, or when you are faced with one of those difficult decisions that perhaps requires a bit of willpower, or is something that you would really like to do but you know will not move you towards your goal. Having a system in place which you can just follow without overthinking can really help minimize the amount of mental energy that you expend. Because when we make those decisions in advance, we can kind of follow them on autopilot. And this means we don't have to spend quite so much time and energy and almost thinking space on decisions that inherently we know the answer to, and we know what choice will make us sort of happiest in the long run, but may struggle to implement in the moment. Essentially, when I am faced with a choice relating to my goal, I have preset, rules that I have set for myself, that I have agreed upon with myself, that I made during a time where I was not hungry, I was not tired, I was not feeling particularly weak in making decisions. And essentially, this is just following something we are already wired to do. We as human beings are designed problem solvers. If it's raining outside, we will grab a coat or an umbrella or decide not to go out. If we run out of milk, we'll either go buy some milk, make a different food or drink, or go without the milk, whether that's in your coffee or on your cereal. If we're hungry or our stomach rumbles or we notice that it's midday, our first step is to think about, do I need to eat something, and look for some lunch. So when a certain trigger happens, we take a planned action, and this is something that we do every day without thinking. What I want to explore today is the fact that we can actually set these up ourselves. So we can control which things we want to, which rules we want to follow, and we can set new rules and tweak them depending on our situation. This is particularly useful when we want to make a good choice or the right choice or the choice that will make us progress, move us forward on that path towards a certain goal. So planning for those daily stresses we know are going to arise, kind of knowing we're going to struggle in the office when that person offers us that cookie, when we know that we don't really want to eat a cookie at the moment because we're trying to make healthier decisions for our body. So thinking about, the most common example I talk about is either setting up a writing habit and kind of trying to avoid the distractions. As a writer myself, that's something that I've been able to give people advice on, or thinking about just looking at healthy habits. So whether that's meditation, getting more sleep, drinking more water, eating less junk food, moving your body more. I'm not talking about crash diets and losing weight and things like that. I am talking about, I know that my body needs to move to feel energetic, to feel fit, to stop me aching. I need to if I'm going to sit at my desk all day, particularly with the lockdown and working from home, then I need to make sure that every hour I get up and do some stretches and sort of pace up and down and just do a little bit of movement, because my body was not made to sit for 8 hours straight. So thinking about applying systems to your life, if you find it hard to pick out meals each evening, You might want to think about batch cooking or meal planning, because that way you're not deciding like 7 p.m, work's been a long day and you've now got to decide what you're doing for dinner. You've made a decision on the weekend before that, oh, it's Tuesday, it's casserole, and it just needs reheating. I've already made it. Like, you don't have to think. You don't have to fight over, oh, I should do something healthy, but I'm tired and I really would just eat anything right now. You don't have to expend that mental energy, you know. You don't have to think about it and make those decisions when you're stressed. Having said this, it's really important to tailor your system to your life. So for myself, especially during lockdown, I have altered my diet and movement habits. If I want breakfast, so sometimes I don't have breakfast at all, but if I want breakfast, I can choose between plain porridge or essentially Weetabix, although I get the cheap version, and milk. And those are my two options. So plain porridge or Weetabix, both with milk, with no toppings. If it's between 11 a.m. and 7 p.m, I can eat what I like for meals. So I personally am attempting to get back into intermittent fasting purely because it stops me eating junk food out of boredom, and it encourages me to listen to my body, and it also means that I sleep better and have more energy in the day. So for me, I have found I can't do till midday. That is not something that works for me, but I can do 11 till 7. So that's my 8-hour window. Some people use a 10-hour window. Some people do 12 and 12. You'll find what works for you. I've been doing intermittent fasting on and off for the last 4.5 years. So I'm pretty comfortable with what I'm doing. I gave each sort of attempt a solid 6 months before switching it up. So when you know what works for you, incorporate it into these systems. If I'm hungry and it's within my time that I'm allowed to eat, then I would have cereal, homemade trail mix, which does have some dried fruit in it, so it still kind of meets that sweetness, or some toast. If I am hungry outside of my eating window, I can have a drink that's got milk in it. So hot chocolate, I probably make 2/3 water, 1/3 milk. Or have a tea or coffee that has milk in it, or drink some fruit juice or some water. So those are some examples that are very heavy on food and drink. Other systems I've set up is that every day I need to write 1 word of fiction. And I did that for 4 months before deciding that actually for me, that wasn't actually getting that many words out, and the words it was getting out weren't very good quality. So for me, I decided that didn't work, but I tried it for a bit. And I know some writers find that if they've got multiple stories on the go and they know that they want to write a certain number of words a week, they've got ways of making that work for them, or writing a minimum of 50 words a day or something. Equally, it might be around those healthy habits around kind of self-development. So I helped someone to come up with a system for their daily meditation where they just told themselves, as long as I've done 3 minutes of meditation, I can play that video game. So if her partner asked her to play a video game, or if she just felt like playing it, she knew that her first step was to sit down and do formal meditation for just 3 minutes, which is the time she had set as her minimum, because that's what worked for her. Another example would be if you want to read more books, or you want to, finish working through a workbook. It might be around on Tuesdays and Thursdays between 6 p.m. and 6:30 p.m. I sit with my workbook and my headphones in, and my family know not to disrupt me. So it might be that you need to tailor these systems a little bit based on your family life, around your day job, around all the other projects that you might have in your life. And the important thing to remember is that with all of these sort of limits, all of these boundaries, all these rules you're setting, you are picking them and you can change them. But I would also say that making changes to the system is important to do when you're not in that spur of the moment. So I can't first thing in the morning go, 10 a.m, I'm a bit bored, I really want chocolate cereal, and be like, I'm going to change my system and allow myself chocolate cereal at 10 a.m. because I just fancy it today. If I want to let myself out of the system for a day and say, do you know what, I'm not dealing with that today, I will get back to that tomorrow, Then I have another system, which is never missing 2 days in a row. So if I need to miss it, if I oversleep, if I go out and someone offers to buy me breakfast, and there's only chocolate croissants available and it's 8 a.m, I can choose not to follow the system. But in terms of actually changing the system, I need to make that decision when it's not based on that kind of craving or that desire, when I'm in my kind of right mind. I'm not hungry or lonely or tired when I'm making that decision. And equally, if I choose to skip a day, I only skip 1 day in a row, because that means I'm still doing something at least 3 times a week. That means that if I've missed one out, I'm not going to be like, oh, I've fallen off the wagon, I'll start again in 6 days' time. Because actually incremental progress adds up so quickly if you keep at it. So yeah, that was my sort of tip for today, is thinking about setting yourself up a system or an algorithm, because then you don't need to have to think about it. And this is something that helps with decision fatigue. So that sense when you're like, oh my goodness, should I do this or this or this? When they've all got some sense of pro or con to them. This is why a lot of the common habits of successful people that I keep seeing about being effective talk about people having the same wardrobe, so they don't have to make those decisions in the morning and waste their brain power on the white shirt or the grey shirt. I find that this works just as well for my mental energy, not having to work out what am I going to have for breakfast, when am I going to fit it in, when am I going to work on that podcast episode. It's all it's already blocked in my calendar for Thursday afternoon at this time, and I edit it at this time. And although I can tweak those things, having a system that is just on this day this happens, when this happens I do this, it takes a lot of the agonising and the thinking and the overthinking out. So in terms of mental energy, in the long run, having systems is still something that we can all use to our advantage more often, even if we don't choose to use them 365 days of the year. Thanks for listening, and as always, you can find out more at rootedreinvention.com. Take care, remember you are more capable than you often realise, and I'll see you next time. Bye!